My name is Michael Warman. I was in the military from 2001 to 2013 in the Army.
My name's Tim, Army from 88 to 07.
My name is Zach Dean. I'm Idaho Army National Guard from 2006 to present.
My name's Cody Quigley. I'm serving in the United States Army. I just got back from Afghanistan. I've been in since 2012, and I'm currently in. This is my son, Trenton, and that's Rogue. We got from IBV.
My name is Dave Parks, and I served from January 69 to October 71. I was in the Army. I'd like to introduce you to my dog, Spot.
My name is Scott Brock, and I served in the Space Force.
William Ostaller. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, the United States Marine Corps, 2008 to 2012. And this is Harley.
Hello, my name is Sergeant First Class Pedro Colunga, retired. This is my camp medicine. I would like to thank Idaho Backcountry veterans for the opportunity of a lifetime. They took me to the Montana Dream Ranch. It was a once-in-a-lifetime antelope hunt. It was awesome. It really helped me get out of my shell, get out of the house, and meet new people. I met my buddy Ron from the Vietnam era and little Dave from Iraq. It helped me really become more social. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity.
Through a buddy of mine when I was downrange in Afghanistan. He's part of the club. He kind of just had showed me about it, and when I was over there, they did a tuna fishing trip, and it was just one of those things that just kind of clicked. And I was like, "Wow, this is cool!" Like they'd taken all these guys out and getting them together, and looked like they just had an amazing time. So something I wanted to be a part of.
Actually, my oldest son told me about it.
So a couple buddies of mine got involved with some veterans charity groups when we came back from Iraq, and found out that a lot of the money that was being donated, or a lot of everything was happening, going to the board members, this, that. A lot of that money wasn't going towards veterans, giving them out. Kevin McFarland, Brian Now, and the other gentleman I don't know personally, they started this group just to get veterans out. That's it. 100%, like 100% of the proceeds goes to veterans. These board members they're not paid. They're not. And they're volunteers to get veterans out, to help veterans.
I heard about IBV on Facebook, actually.
So I actually heard of IBV through a friend of mine who was working with IBV, with a couple members on some duck hunts down in Hagerman, Idaho. My wife found IBV before I did, and kind of got me onto it also.
Through one of my friends who serves with the President, Kevin.
Phenomenal organization. Just a great trip up there to pick the dogs up and bring them back.
Pretty good. Really good, actually. Most of the guys, or not most of the guys, a lot of guys online have a hard time figuring out what I'm saying because I get a little bit carried away.
The experiences I've had with IBV is when I first got introduced to them, went out to did their annual dinner that they do every year, and listened to some stories, and just a really touching and rough night at the same time, because not a whole lot of people in this area talk about that kind of stuff. So got a chance to go out to Swartz Pond, do some sturgeon fishing, which I've always wanted to do. It was an amazing day. Took my kids out there with me. I got two boys, and it was just a really, really fun experience. And then we took a nice trip out to Westport and did some fishing out there, and once a lifetime opportunity, and just had a really great trip out there, hanging out with some guys that I can relate to and share some stories with, and it was a really nice trip.
I got more involved a couple years ago when there's a gentleman from Idaho Falls, I was in Eastern Idaho at the time, that made a post saying, hey, I've got some property over here, love to get some veterans out. So I hit him up, and we went hunting, and it was a good time. Like, that year, I shot the biggest buck I've ever shot. They took me ice fishing over there, you know. It's been a really good experience, honestly.
I've been on a couple deals with IBV. I got invited to go to Washington and do a duck and goose hunt, and had a pretty good time. I really did. And then just recently, toward the end of goose season, I got a call from Kevin, the president. And he said, hey, geese are flying, come out. So I ran out to kind of the Caldwell Nampa area where they had a nice set of geese decoys set up. And I actually got the first goose I got this year. I don't have access to fields, and Kevin got us on the field. So that's kind of my interaction so far.
I've gone on 3 fishing trips and 2 duck hunting trips, and took one of the guys big game hunting last year. It was his first time up in Idaho hunting.
I think it's just kind of an outlet to talk to people that's been where we've been, seen what we've seen. Just kind of gives us an outlet to hang out. We understand each other. We know each other, and just go out in the outdoors and enjoy it together with each other.
Well, IBV means to me the chance to be involved with a lot of veterans, a lot of young guys that have went through the same stuff that I've had, but yet it's the same but different. So they teach me, and plus if I can help the young guys out, if they're having any kind of problems or anything, I'm willing to try and help them. If they want to talk, I'd like to talk.
I don't know if I can necessarily put that into words. It's a group of guys that I could talk to and relate with, and when I talk, they can understand what I'm saying and where it's coming from, and I feel like I can have a normal conversation with a group of guys that normally I wouldn't be able to do that with just a normal civilian.
This organization, for me, I found it at a kind of a pivotal time in my life where I thought that I was going to be doing all of my hunting, all of my outdoor stuff by myself, and which I do a lot of. I'm 100+ days a year in the mountains somewhere. And then when I ran across this group, I realized that there are other guys, well, not only hunting and conservation minded like myself, but were passionate about helping other veterans and being part of veterans. So I'm just kind of scratching the surface and what this group means to me. So far, I've made 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 good buds that I can call and talk to on the phone, guys that I'm helping out maybe in a little bit of mentorship in business or a few other things, guys that can call me or I can call them with for advice. I think really that's just tapping into the future of what IBV is.
Well, they brought Harley into our lives, and we greatly appreciate that every day that we have her. She's been one tremendous piece to the puzzle as far as, being able to take the kids out and do upland hunting and teaching the kids a little bit more on the conservation side of what we should do as good students.
So, a little bit of backstory. Just a little bit over 2 years ago, we unexpectedly lost my little brother, passed away, and I was doing a lot of training with the military and everything, and I was away from family, living on the eastern side of Idaho. Thankfully, I'm back here now, but you can imagine the kind of rabbit hole that took me down. I mean, talking about drinking and depression and everything else. And that was the same year where I met up with Mr. Ryan Dial from the page. And he took me hunting. We went out, shot the biggest buck I've ever shot. was a really emotional moment. This months after my brother passed away, and then they took me out ice fishing. So what it meant, what the organization means to me is, it really helped me get out of that rabbit hole, because it seemed like I was going down so hard that there was no bottom. And honestly, I think it's probably saved my life.
So far, this organization is a way to bond with other fellow veterans and fellow hunters. I'm usually isolate myself. I take kids up hunting and stuff, but it's nice to actually have other adults to hunt with, people that I actually know and can relate to while I'm up hunting. Makes it a lot easier to deal with people.
It's enjoyment. It's where I like to be. Kind of just relaxes me, lets me do what I want. Being out in nature, just being a part of out there, enjoying it. It's just kind of where I enjoy myself.
Very relaxing, able to center myself and get rid of the stress of city life and dealing with people. Makes it a lot easier. Get up and relax, get back into nature. A lot less stress that way.
Well, one time in my life I had a pretty bad experience being outside, in the outdoors, in the trees and things like that. So actually being outdoors helps me try and control my fears, if you like.
No other place I'd rather be.
So being in the outdoors really helps me just deal with life in general. Getting out there, recentering myself. You're in God's country, and it's just beautiful. We came back from the deployment I was on. I had a pretty easy deployment compared to a lot of my friends. And when we came back, it seemed like we were losing 1 or 2 friends to suicide every year. And that was just that's an average, There was a year where we lost 3 soldiers to suicide that were friends of mine, and I just wish that I could have done more. But just getting outdoors is the best therapy for everything. Suffering from PTSD or family issues or this or that. There's a lot of issues that soldiers come home with, and getting outdoors, it's a cure. It's not just going and taking a pill and trying to maintain your self, right? You get outdoors and it cures you. I just wish some of these people would have known that, and so I would I would recommend getting involved with this organization just because it is so therapeutic. There's nothing more therapeutic than being outdoors, and people should know that. Soldiers need to know that. Veterans need to know that.
So I'm not a big fan of psychobabble. I'm not a big fan of psychiatrists. I'm not a big fan of medication. So my form of medication is being in the hills. It's mind clearing. It relaxes the stress in my body. I will literally tell my wife, I'm going somewhere. I don't even know where I'm going. I get in my Suburban, which is always packed and ready to go. I head to the mountains, and I'll be gone for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And I'm just running around. I call it scouting, but in fact, I'm literally clearing my mind. I come back to work, I'm more focused. I'm ready to go back into the world again.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for IBV and Andrea at Ridge Runner Kennels, it definitely wouldn't have happened. He's a phenomenal dog, and just I wouldn't have been able to get the capabilities of him. It just wouldn't have happened.
I've met a lot of cool guys, and they're all great. We kind of banter back and forth most of the time, and I'm having fun. They get kind of cranky, but anyway, I've learned a lot from these young guys, and everybody knows what they're doing as far as hunting's concerned. I'm learning stuff about hunting also, so never too old to learn.
I spend a lot of time on the mountain, a lot of time hunting, but was able to fish some spots that I've never tried out before. Saw some new areas for hunting. So IBV does help with that. I met a lot of good people, a lot of this organization.
To go on a trip like that, I probably wouldn't have been able to do for another 10 years or so, and just a great opportunity to go out there with those guys and my family and participate.
I guess, like I've said before, it's giving an outlet to talk with other veterans and have a little bit more support as far as, even if it isn't commenting on things and necessarily being active in the field, it has helped with just having a place to go and talk with other guys and veterans.
IBV has just allowed me to find other guys that are similar mindset. It also has allowed me to relax a little bit. The things that I do for a living puts me in the public eye, and I'm under a little bit of scrutiny. So when I'm around other veterans, I really get to just kind of relax. I put my guard down. There's the one word that always comes to mind with a brotherhood is trust. And so that level of trust is there. And when you experience that level of trust, it kind of completes you a little bit.
So I've grown up hunting. I've grown up in the outdoors quite a bit. Like I said, a couple years ago, when I started getting involved with it, it opened up so many opportunities for me because I didn't know anybody when I moved to Eastern Idaho from the Treasure Valley. And so ended up meeting Ryan Dial and Thane Hyatt, those guys from One More Ridge, and they've just been phenomenal supporters, and they've got me out on hunts that I would have never been able to get on.
I would encourage every veteran out there or current service member out there to be a part of it. It's a great organization. From young to old, they kind of cater to everyone. If someone has some problems getting out, they accommodate, get them out. They don't have any limitations. They'll do what they need to do to get people out outdoors.
The others that I would encourage to participate would be people out there just like me, kind of in their own little world, and just knowing that there's other military people out there who've been out, whether they've been out for a year or been out for 10 years or 20. It's definitely, I would definitely encourage them to at least try it a couple times, and see how comfortable they feel, and be around a group of brothers that think the way you do and relate the way you do.
I would encourage others to follow them, attend events, and try to make a difference in veterans' lives, especially here in Idaho. I know a lot of veterans that are here in Idaho that do not have a great outlet because of the space between people, and an organization like IBV could definitely bring guys together so they don't feel so alone, and give them that brotherly experience again in the outdoors.
Well, I had the opportunity, I don't know, probably a month ago to speak with a Kiwanis club in Nampa, and a lot of it was really focused on that, what can be done. And it's kind of a multi-layered question. Number one is more guys coming in. I'd like to see our membership expand throughout the whole state and possibly even nationally. We got to have some goals and some big picture things. So I'd like to see us spread through the state first, understand how to run this organization and what we can do, and then use that as leadership and mentorship in other states to show them what they can do, because the advantages of it are great. I'd also like to encourage businesses. We need to open up our connection with businesses and network, which will lead A, in with money, and then B, also in with land. More than just cash, this group needs places to hunt. We need land. We can supply our own duck decoys. We can do this. We can do it. The land is free, so that's really the connection that we need to market a little bit more, is that connection with landowners.
I've actually referred a lot of my veteran friends and a lot of veterans that I meet to actually come into IBV to get them out in the open, get them out, socializing, learning how to deal with people again, and get them back out in nature and teach them to hunt for the ones that don't know how or kind of interested in learning.
Well, to me, it would be a good idea for all the young veterans to get involved in this organization. I don't know how the service organizations are anymore, like the DAV and the VFW and the American Legion. In my day, they didn't want nothing to do with us. And it's well worth getting involved in those organizations also. But this is strictly young guys. There's a few old guys, and it's well worth it for them because they've got somebody that they can talk to, somebody that's done the same thing at the same time, probably. A couple of guys were talking last night that they joined the service at the same time. One just happened to be in the Air Force and the other one was in the Army. And they carried on a conversation for about 45 minutes. So I think it's a good thing for all the young guys and the ladies. We ain't got nothing against girls.
So the name itself, if you think about it, Idaho Backcountry Veterans, we're a brotherhood. And we've all experienced quite a bit of stuff that other people don't understand, right? And it doesn't matter. I met Dan last year, during a deer hunt. And we're brothers. Like, we just connect. You're able to talk with people and that understand what you have been through, and because they've been through the same stuff. Getting together with other vets that have experienced the same traumatic experiences or fun experiences or whatever, like we sat there and can be best friends. Like, we've known each other for years and years after talking for 10 minutes, just because we know each other and know what everyone, like, what all these other vets have been through, I absolutely would encourage it because of that reason.
I just want to say thanks to IBV and everyone to make this part. It's a great organization.
I appreciate IBV giving me the opportunity to participate and hang out with you guys and get out of my comfort bubble a little bit and really try to just be a part of something bigger than myself and try to help out where I can.
No, I'd just like to thank IBB for bringing Harley into our lives, and really, I mean, she's the biggest thing for us. It's hard to explain how much this dog has really meant to myself and the family.
I just want to say that I found this group on accident, a straight up accident, trolling Facebook, and I came to the very first banquet. It was the very first thing I ever did, and I just kind of sit back and watch what was going on. And as time progressed, so we're going on a year now, and I've met a bunch of guys that I really like. I think it's growing. I'm just super excited for the future for this. It's the only philanthropy that really has me excited because it has my passion involved in it, and that's outdoors and hunting. So this group has a huge future, and I want to see it grow, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help it grow.
IBV is a good organization. You meet some good people, and they're there even just not for hunting. They're there if you need help, help move or whatever. Call them up and say, hey, I need a hand with something. And usually you get 3 or 4 guys that actually show up and actually help. So
get involved. Look out for soldiers. These guys are doing a phenomenal job. It started out as a Facebook group just to get friends together, and it's really just kind of blown up into this organization that is helping at just helping people, helping soldiers, helping veterans deal with stuff. And the best way to do that is in the outdoors. So get involved, whether it's just throw a couple dollars their way or take a veteran out, like Ryan Dial, One More Ridge. They're not veterans. They found the page, they threw up a post, and they have done phenomenal things with veterans. It's something that, like, you just have to do it. Just get involved, whether it's your time, money, resources. Yeah. There's no one else that can take care of vets better than vets. So that's Idaho Backcountry Veterans.